Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Maverick here, and today we're watching episode 2 of Assassin's Pride. So, to be entirely honest, last episode, I wasn't all that impressed by how things started out. I feel like, they didn't properly explain a lot of things, and a lot of things didn't really make sense, at least in terms of the dialogue, and then in terms of, their motivations and whatnot. And the dialogue was also a little bit lacking as well, let's be honest here. Some of you guys who have read the light novels before have said that they failed to mention a lot of things, and potentially they will mention it in the future. Just as a reminder, just because the light novel actually explains things doesn't let the anime adaptation off the hook, right? In fact, bad adaptations is one of the reasons why I don't watch a lot of these light novel turned animes, because I feel like they're not respecting the original work enough. With that said, however, it could be also a case where the opening or the introduction to this series doesn't really make that much, doesn't really matter that much, and it's more the story that comes after that is the, real meat of the story, right? So that's also a possibility, and that's why we're giving it a few more episodes to see if things pick up. Now, last episode, Merida actually got her powers now. She has mana now, and so I'm assuming that in this episode she's going to learn more on how to control it, and perhaps one of her first enemies is going to be getting revenge on the people who bullied her in the academy, right? Is that true or not? Let's find out. All right, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. We're starting with the opening first. Alright, since this is the first time we actually see it, we'll watch it. Though the sound will be muted, since I don't want to get copyright struck. Huh. I wasn't expecting this kind of genre of music. Oh. Is this actually sung by the voice actors? I believe it is. Run, girls, run. Not really familiar with that unit. I know the lyricist, though. She's a pretty well-known lyricist. Huh. Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting, more electronics inspired music for this kind of series. I still feel like I'm getting a deja vu from, Sword Art Online vibes, but whatever. I know it's different. Oh. Because it's necessary? Really, dude? Mm. Okay, actually. Mm-hmm. Because he gave her mana. Again, one of you guys, I'm sorry I forgot your name. I should probably check later. But one of my viewers actually mentioned, the actual setting, right? Because she comes from a paladin family, and apparently the powers here are transferred by blood lineage. So if people discover that her mana is not actually paladin, the whole thing falls apart. They'll still know she's not the true heir to this family. I do kind of wonder how the powers manifest differently between the classes. And seriously, what kind of ridiculous setting is this? We got a paladin and a samurai? Like, what? I mean, I guess don't question it. I just feel like it's really funny that we have something of the West and of the East in the same sort of system. Like, it's not even swordsman or anything, it's samurai. Oh. So she's not going to be able to get her revenge during this week. I mean, I can already see that she's probably gonna kick her ass. Perhaps not in this episode, but maybe the next one? Or at least by the end of this episode. No, it's the person he met. And her cousin. Private tutor? Does she have a hidden occupation as well? Press Legion. Career Marcus? Oh, really? Really? Alright, whatever. Oh wow, already? Alright, she's gonna get her revenge this episode. Oh. So where do the men train? That's my question. No, but seriously, why is he able to do this? What is this for this elementary schoolyard fight? Grandfather. I actually don't understand why he's being so mean to her all of a sudden. No, it's a team battle. Alright. Alright, alright. Alright. Let's see how the battles actually go. Really? One shot? I mean, I don't want to be a party pooper, but she still only got this because of you, Vampire. Okay, I like this. They're actually showing her... No, it's just to level the playing field, right? She actually has very good fundamentals. Hmm. So what happened? You didn't even hit her. Hmm? Okay, so now they're actually going to show her being able to defeat her with just by herself. Hmm? What? Okay, it's similar to maybe the first one. Okay, so they need to, it's sort of like capture the flag or hmm. Yeah. So people can't actually tell that the technique she was using might not be. What? And so now they're suddenly friends again? What? I Hmm. Well, hmm. I think this is also a little bit different. Alright, let's take a look at this ending animation. And of course, it's sung by Merida's voice actor. I still see quite a bit left, so I'm assuming that's going to be the preview. Oh no, not just the preview. Some actual after credit scenes. This is the guy who killed, yeah. Alright. I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty, so in this episode, they did actually start to explain, the sort of class difference, I guess you could say, in regards to, the powers that Kufa actually gave to Merida, compared to what Merida should have had if she had awakened powers by herself, right? And it's already established that she's not the legitimate child of her father, right? So she cannot awaken paladin powers using the potion, and then combined with the kiss from Kufa in the last episode, Merida turned her class into a samurai, right? And so here we really start to get into some of sort of the class system that was what initially drew me into this work, right? I really wasn't going to pick it up. It's just that I felt compelled to take a look at how the author builds the world, right? So we got paladins, we got samurais. Looking at the opening, we also see a few other classes. I think I saw a maiden class for Rose, the teacher, the other private tutor, and then there was also a dragoon class, and then one other one that I couldn't make out, right? So we got all these different classes. Now, the thing is, I don't really see, like, within the fight for this episode, I feel like there should have been a bigger emphasis on the differences between the different classes, right? And, there should be differences between the different classes. They're using different kinds of weapons, and presumably they will have different abilities as well. So one thing that kind of bugs me is how, with all these spectators out there, and, these spectators, a lot of them should be people who can actually use mana as well and are familiar with mana, how come nobody could see that, okay, the mana or type of style that Merida was using was, and the technique that she used, the ability that she used, was not of the paladin class, right? Now, hopefully, perhaps in the next episode, we'll learn a little bit more in regards to the actual nuance between the different classes, but I just thought it kind of ridiculous that, just looking at the way that she's using her weapon and her style, it doesn't look like what a paladin would be using, right? If we go by our usual preconception of these different kinds of classes, with samurais, we know they use samurai blades, katanas and whatnot, double-handed swords in a way, or they can use it with one arm as well, or with both arms to swing. Paladins, judging from RPGs, they're like this more heavily armored classes, sort of like knights in a certain way, having more defensive prowess, and then basically using maces or whatnot as their weapons. And dragoons are sort of like knights in a certain way as well. But yeah, we can definitely see the origin that these things are based on, right? So how come nobody could see that she's clearly not using something and manifesting mana that's not of the paladin class? So that's something that's really bugging me, and I hope they explain it a little bit more in the next episode or in upcoming episodes. Now, as for the actual fight, right? So, I guess I kind of like the way that they did it. I was basically calling her out as well, saying that, well, at the end of the day, it's still not really your power. It's just the power that was given to you by Kufa, right? So I feel like what they're trying to portray here is that really her having mana is just leveling the playing field, and she's going to rely on stuff that she has and her own abilities to overpower her opponent, right? To overpower Neruva. So I was expecting a lot more of, the tactics that she had, the technique that she had. Kufa praised her technique in the first episode, or maybe various things that she picked up while she was out fighting these monsters every night, right? They go and try to show how she's hardworking and she's, she's quite talented as well. It's just that she's lacking that vital mana. But I feel like within the fight itself, it didn't really manifest that clearly, that this was the result of her own, different kinds of technique. Like, her technique is superior to Neruva's, like, I wish they could have maybe sort of like even have just some bystanders comment on, you know, how great a form she has, and like showing a skill that's far beyond what people her age should have, right? Maybe commenting on, oh, so yeah, that is showing the power of the angel family. She is a great sword fighter, like something like that, right? Instead, we don't really have any of that, and even at the very end, it seems that, you know, it seemed like just purely based on willpower. Like, of course, her mastering this technique that her instructor did not teach her, perhaps you could argue that this is a result of hard work as well, and it's just that it was condensed, so we didn't really see her hard work. But even then, that was like, what, 1 week? And not to mention that they already mentioned she did not have any mana left. How did she suddenly manifest more mana, right? So, I don't know. I feel like they could have maybe emphasize the point a little bit more, and that would have let me also, and perhaps some other viewers as well, really emphasize with her a lot more, in terms of, you know, it was already sad that she had no mana before, but now that she suddenly received this gift of mana, you know, can it really be called her power, right? And in order for at least me to accept that this is her own power is in the other things that she brings to the table, and not just, you know, the fact that Kufa gave her this mana, or awakened this mana to her, right? So I wish that they could have maybe put a little bit more effort into building up her character during the fight. Now, that's so I'm fairly neutral on that. Like, so it's just, you know, I like the way they did it. I just wish they did more of it. Now, the thing that I really have a problem with is the character and relationships, and the really the dialogue, right? Like, I still don't really like how they're portraying these characters, and it's just like in very weird kind of relationships, right? Like Kufa and Merida. From the first episode, I was like, okay, so why does Kufa all of a sudden fall head over heels over her and willing to protect her and go to all sorts of limbs to, you know, stand up to her and whatnot, right? So we're never really, you know, giving them more time together to develop their relationship or anything. It's just simply there, and we have to accept it, and that just feels very, very off to me. And also Kufa with Rose, right? So why did he suddenly become so cold toward her when he was at least a gentleman to, like, it's okay if he's trying to, you know, break off her advances or whatnot, right? But there's no need to insult her, right? So how come all of a sudden he became this kind of guy? And then also, the biggest problem here would probably be Merida with Neruva, right? So, you know, I absolutely, you know, I'm completely baffled why at the very end Neruva suddenly, okay, I was your friend all along, let me return this to you, sorry for what I've done to you, and that's it? Like, what? I mean, I don't know whether they just skipped a lot of the backstory between Merida and Neruva and whatnot. Like, even with the thing that they portrayed here, I still feel like this shouldn't have been the outcome of this, of the relationship, judging from this battle, right? It's just very, very odd, let's just say. So, yeah. So really, I'm still on the fence in regards to this. Like, the actual animation itself, it you know, it definitely wasn't as flashy as the first episode, but I guess it's passable. Honestly, I would say it's just passable. It's not something particularly interesting to watch, but it's not bad either. It's just good, right? It's good. And well, that's basically. I feel like in regards to the more foundational stuff, you know, if we're throwing story and character development and whatnot aside, you know, from an animation or a music standpoint, probably I was most impressed by the opening song, right? So actually, I looked this up. Run Girls Run is a Seiyu unit, a Seiyu singing unit, basically, voice actors who formed a singing unit of It's Free Girls. I don't believe any of them are actually voice actors of this anime either, so they're just simply making the opening song. So it was quite interesting to hear this kind of genre of music with this kind of anime. So that probably left the biggest impression on me from this episode so far. So yeah, that's basically it. Upcoming for the next episode, we see that Merida is going to be fighting Elise, who is an actual paladin, right? So I feel like if even within that kind of battle, they don't explain how people are not noticing the difference between Merida's fighting style and Elise's fighting style, that would be really, really missing the mark, right? They should at least explain something during that episode. And then we also see a potential antagonist as well, an actual evil antagonist, if you will. So the bandaged mummy dude, yeah, he's probably gonna show up next episode and perhaps cause some chaos, right? Well, I'm waiting for that as well. So there you go, that was my review of Assassin's Pride Episode 2. Do let me know if I missed anything, or you want to have counter arguments to some of my points, and if not, I will see you guys in next week's episode. So until then, bye bye.